What's going on, guys? Eric here and welcome to the channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how to make a unique windshield banner for your car using VViVid's really cool BioPulse Headlight and Taillight Tint. So in this video I'll go over the tools and supplies you'll need or want to have on hand to do this project. We'll do the video tutorial walkthrough, and then at the very end I'll talk about the cost of the project to show you how cheaply and easily you can make a really cool and unique windshield banner for your car. So before getting into the walkthrough itself, let's take a look at the tools and supplies you're going to want to have on hand to do this project. Starting at the top left, or on the left side there, you see you just have a bottle of cleaner, which is isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and water mixture, about 70% alcohol, 30% water. Below that, I just have a microfiber cloth. To the right is just a heat source. I'm using a torch for this project. You can use a heat gun or a hair dryer. At the top to the right there, you can see I just have a utility knife, and then below that a micro squeegee, and below that a regular squeegee. Now the green roll that I have there is a product called knifeless tape, and that's used for cutting vinyl without having to use a knife itself. To the right of that I just have a measuring tape, and below that I have my toolkit, my tool pouch, which has a bunch of different tools that I keep on hand with me: blade breaker box, pokers, other squeegees, etc. And it's handy to have on you so that you can have quick and easy access to all the tools you'll need. I also keep in there, you can barely see it, but some grease pencils in there for marking, which I'll be using for this particular project. If you have a white one, I'd recommend that, something that shows up easily on your windshield glass. And with that, let's move on to the walkthrough tutorial portion of the video. So start off by ensuring the area you're going to apply the vinyl to is thoroughly clean. You can see here I'm doing a quick wipe down using isopropyl alcohol and water mixture, about 70% alcohol, 30% water, which is wiping out the general surface area. Then I'm taking my squeegee and just putting it in under my cloth, and then kind of getting in those areas where the windshield meets the roof line and the A-pillar line to make sure I get any of the dirt and debris and things like that that might be trapped under there out of that as well. Clean nice and thoroughly. Make sure it's really, really clean. The next step here you can see is I'm starting to measure out how far down I want the banner to go. I'm going to be following the curvature of the roof line where the windshield meets the roof, and so I'm basically making tick marks. You can see now about 5.5 inches down all the way around, and what that'll do is it'll maintain the curvature of the roof line. If I just put a mark down on each A-pillar, let's say 6 inches down, and went straight across, it creates kind of a bow in the middle where it's thicker at the ends by the A-pillars and thinner in the middle of the windshield itself. Now, once I've got my tick marks down, I'm going to go ahead and start laying down some knifeless tape. You can see I've got that out. This is just regular finish line knifeless tape, not design line. Finish line has a yellow filament in it. Design line has a pink. And finish line, it does curve, but not nearly as much or as easily as design line. But finish line is also stronger, and it doesn't break or snap as easily as design line. Since I'm not doing any extreme curves or designs, I just decided to use regular finish line since all I'll have is a moderate curve. I've laid it down and I've got it pretty close to where I want, but I didn't like how the curve went as well. So you can see right now what I'm doing here is I've started in the center and then kind of picked it up and worked my way to each A-pillar. And as I'm doing that, I'm kind of slowly, it's hard to see that I'm actually doing it, but I'm actually curving the kind of like pinstriping, curving the knifeless tape to match those tick marks that I made on my windshield to get that curvature that I'm looking for in the banner style for this one. Once I've got the curvature the way I like it, make sure my knifeless tape is pressed down really well. Get my material, which is the BioPulse Headlight Tint. You can see I've got a piece already cut out. I went 5.5 inches down. I'm using a piece that's about 5 foot long by about, I think it was 8 inches. If I were to do this again, I'd probably do actually even wider, because what I did was I ended up having to pull and stretch and curve the vinyl. If I just went wider, say with a 1 foot piece, I could have just gone straight across and cut it out. Now, either way is fine. There's just different things to consider. If I did it with a wider 12-inch piece, 12-inch wide piece, I could have just put it straight across, cut it, and been done with it. With a thinner 8-inch piece, because of the curvature, I had to then, you can see I'm locking down the center there. Then I had to, on each half, pick it back up and kind of stretch and bow and curve this to make sure that I had full coverage over the knifeless tape area, but also over the roofline area. And then once I've got that down, I'm just basically going to lay the vinyl down and in on each side. Another thing that you'll see here in a little bit in doing it the way that I did is you'll have a little bit of bunching up of material in the middle because that's where the curve is, and so you've got some excess material that will build up there. But I'll tackle that here in a little bit and show you how to take care of that. So you can see me just working on this side here, the driver's side, picking that up a little bit, and then just basically feeding the vinyl down and along using my squeegee up and to the edges there, all the way up and in, and tucking in because I want to make sure I have a good nice tuck. Once I've got that all squared away like I like it, I'm going to pick up again, going from the center a little bit, give it a nice good tug, and I'm doing it cold so I don't overstretch the vinyl. And you can see I've got that kind of horizontal, slightly angled wrinkle there, and that's totally fine because then I just pick it up and pull up or down, and those horizontal style wrinkles will go away effectively. Now you'll see here in just a second when I was talking about a little bit of excess material in the middle because there's a bow right in the middle, and the center is kind of the apex or the high point of the bow. And so you'll see I'm laying down the vinyl along the knifeless tape really nice and tight, and then I'm kind of working my way up, and then you'll see here in the middle area just kind of like some material that's not bunched up but kind of poofy, and that's an indication that there's a little excess material. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to heat it up a little bit, which will cause the vinyl to shrink, and I'm using a torch. If you're not comfortable with a torch, use a heat gun or a hair dryer. I use a torch all the time for my regular vinyl wrap job. Anyway, so I heated up the vinyl to shrink it just a little bit and make it softer and a little bit more malleable. And then you can kind of see I'm doing a triangle or a V shape squeegee strokes, and I'm basically from the center to each side moving that vinyl out, because you are moving a little bit of vinyl each time you do that, but also with a softer, warmer vinyl, it conforms a little bit better as well. Again, if I had just done a 12-inch, I could have just laid straight across and had plenty of excess across the top by the roof line, plenty of excess down on the bottom over to knifeless tape without having any to worry about any of that excess material. Maybe just give it a little stretch to pull some of it out and then been done with it. But the con to that is you use up a lot more material than you would if you did this. I mean, that would involve using about 4 inches more worth of material. The roll is 5 feet wide already, so I just cut off an 8-inch strip off of that roll. Instead of using a 12-inch strip by 5 feet, I just used a 8-inch strip. And so, well, what's the big difference about a 4-inch by 5-foot strip? Well, those are things that you could do like taillights, maybe some fog lights, things like that. And if you're doing this for charging clients as a service, you want to save on your material costs so that you could do other things like that without having to buy more material. And so just kind of I guess a habit for me to try to do that, to save material as best I can, if I'm confident in being able to do so. If you're not confident that you'd be able to do it the way that I did this, then certainly use a wider strip. So anyway, as you can see, I'm tucking this in, and I'm taking my time to prepare this really well. I got it all tucked in the way I like it. Now I'm pulling my knifeless tape to cut that bottom end off, pulling it along the line and maybe downward a little bit. You don't want to pull into the vinyl that you want to leave remaining. And then I'm peeling off the excess vinyl that's been cut. And you can see there's the knifeless tape been cut in half lengthwise. So there's 2 pieces of the green that you'll want to make sure you get. If you peel it off and only get one, you have to find the other half of it. I used my squeegee there to basically seal down really well the edge that's just been cut. Make sure you do that right away so you don't forget later on. And then just the vinyl will start failing if you forget, because it can look like it's been laid down and it's ready to go. I'm just doing on this top area where it meets the roof line and the A-pillar, one last good tuck. Lift up the vinyl if you need to a little bit so you can feed it into that crevice or gap if you need to. I'm using a micro squeegee to do that. Once I've done that, I'm taking my knife and then basically using the side of my blade up against the basically the rubber edge guard of the windshield where it meets the roof and A-pillar, and using that as my guide. I'm using a stainless steel blade instead of a carbon blade or a ceramic blade because I don't want to scratch my glass. Stainless steel, generally if you don't press too hard, will not scratch your glass. And then make sure your blade is as sharp as it can be so that it cuts nice and easily and you don't have to push very hard. So I've got the driver's side done, and I'm doing the same thing now for the passenger side. Just taking my time, going a little slowly to make sure that my cut is nice, clean, and smooth. Once I've done with that, all I'm doing now is taking my squeegee and tucking in the vinyl that's been cut. There's an area there that I stopped and saw because it hadn't been tucked in quite as well as I wanted it to be. So I just stopped real quick, got my micro squeegee out, tucked that in, and then continued on once I was comfortable that I had the vinyl the way I wanted it. Finished up my cut, peel off the excess. When you peel it off, go a little slowly so that you don't actually, if you didn't cut through all the way, you don't rip up any vinyl if you're just yanking this off. Once you finish cutting all the way through, just take your squeegee, or in this case, I'm using my micro squeegee, making sure everything is tucked in nice and tight. Once I've done that, I'm just taking my alcohol and cleaning rag to wipe off those grease pencil tick marks that I made. But also, this is a way to clean off any handprints, fingerprints I left on the vinyl, and also press down the vinyl as well. Once I've done that, I'm just taking my heat and then using that to make sure I can find any bubbles and get out any scratches, heat any scratches. But this, for all intents and purposes, this banner is now done. Alright guys, so that's the walkthrough tutorial portion of the video. As you saw, it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do, just a little bit of measuring, a little bit of cutting, laying the vinyl. I did discuss two ways to do it, one with a skinnier sheet of vinyl, about 8 inches in this case, or you can go with a wider, thicker piece, about 12 inches tall by 5 feet long. In both cases, I used a 5-foot long strip. If you want to get this vinyl, I'll put some links in the description below, so check those out so you can get it. But generally speaking, a 1-foot by 5-foot roll, which should cover most needs to do a vinyl windshield banner like this, will run you about $15 to $18, more or less, depending on the vendor that you elect to go with. If you do need something bigger, of course, you'll have to take measurements to get the actual vinyl size that you will need. But you can see for about 15 minutes worth of your time and about $15 worth of material, you can add a really cool and unique vinyl windshield banner to your car. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been helpful for you and probably giving you maybe an idea on doing something cool and unique for your car. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like by hitting that thumbs up button down below. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and then hit that bell notification button so you get notices whenever I post new content to the channel. I'm working on more projects and videos, and I'd love to share those with you. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.